Good evening, everyone, and good evening to Cheng Ran, who is connecting from Hangzhou in China. I would like, first of all, to thank you, Cheng, for being with us today and for having accepted to be part of this online public program that we have launched with the Mudam in the month of October. And today we're actually concluding our cycle of interviews. Today is our 8th interview. I am Emanuela Mazzonis, and I have assisted Francesco Bonami in creating the Me Family project and online platform and public program. So before we will start our interview, I would like to give to our public a small introduction about you, Cheng, and your work. So Cheng Ran is one of the most promising Chinese artists of his generation. His work has been exhibited already in many different museums, and he had different important solo shows. One, just to name a few, I would say one at the MAC in Belfast, the New Museum in New York, the Key 11 Art Foundation in Hong Kong, the Yuan Space in Beijing as well. He also has been included in different important group exhibitions at the Kino der Kunst in Munich, at the ICA in Singapore. He was also part of the 14th Istanbul Biennial, an important show inside China, l'Intérieur du Géant at the Palais de Tokyo in Paris, and the Rock Band Art Museum in Shanghai. So Cheng, you investigate the cultural landscape of West and East society. In your works, in your videos and films, you're comparing the literacy, poetic, cinematographic, and visual worlds. You propose a new narrative that brings together and compares myth and modernity, past and present, personal and collective events. Since your last epic 9-hour long video work entitled In Curse of the Miraculous from 2016, you become more and more interested in the idea of otherness, if I can use this word, the relationship between time and urban environment, and the meaning of language. Inspired by a diverse range of sources from the internet and advertising to political affairs and obscure mythical events, you are capable of developing a poetic language that includes both the internal world and the external one. So going back to the work in Curse of the Miraculous, you are narrating 3 real-life mysterious disappearances. The first one is a British mountaineer, George Mallory, who went missing while he was ascending the Mount Everest in the beginning of the 20th century, in 1924. The second one is the artist Jan Ader, who vanished during his journey across the Atlantic in 1975. That was part of a performance that, of course, never went completed because of his loss at the sea. And the performance was entitled In Search of the Miraculous. And the third person is a Chinese fishing trawler, Lu Rongyu, which in 2011 returned to land after 8 months with only 1/3 of its original crew still alive. Now, I would like to ask you, Cheng, if you can tell us more about this project and your source of inspiration and the aim you wanted to gain with this work.
Hi, thank you for introduction, and thank you for inviting me for this great project and interviews. And for this work in Course of the Miraculous, actually this is my first feature film, but it's also still not a real film because it's 9 hours long. So I was thinking about cinema film, also film in museums, but it's not a main question for me. How to show it in real time, people could watching or sleeping. Even we can service food or sleeping bag for watching people who watching this film. So I think that's an important idea for Star. Um, this film is based on three true stories through a missing people part. So I think that's the main idea to making this movie through the different true story and imagine that become to true. And I'm also really interested in the system and the progress of how to making films in the film production the way. So to making this 9 hours movie is not easy. It totally took right, I think three years. And from the beginning, I already start plan how to shoot this movie and how to open the system of film production to make things happening. So before the movies come in, I did many different research for the stories. Also, I make the uh, script and storyboard. So before the movies come in, I prepared over 10 exhibitions and the performance to open the system to show the progress of the movie. That includes storyboard film, which I only use a very simple drawing with a voiceover to talk about how do I think about the story, how I want, how can I to uh, to show the different parts and how about the details of each different parts. So that's become already a exhibitions to show my mind. And this start uh, from 2013 when I was in Amsterdam in Rex Academy. That's why I am interested in the story of Bastian Adler. So, um, and the final part is ending at 2015 show in Istanbul Biennale and Caleb Foundation Hong Kong. But it's not still not the end. After the time in 2019, I also worked with a really good musician called Dad G. He's a really good DJ and musicians. We're working together to show different kind of result of this movie with live performance in Sydney Opera House. So I think um, for the title of the name is already tell everything. In cause of the remiculars, so I would like to say the the progress is already the start. So I've already inside the miraculous. If the miraculous, we need to searching for something. So I try to use this film to searching the results. Also, the time of making the movie is also part of the uh, miraculous. Yeah. Yeah, I think also this movie is quite interesting. We built a fiction part inside a film studio. We built 400 square meters black sea with black water to rebuild the view of the missing moment of Bastian Adler. So nobody knows what happens. So we need to imagine what is going on during that time. So, and after the shooting, that's actually the last part of the shooting. After the shooting, we opened the gate of the studio and invited a really famous post rock music band, Wang Wen, to to play live music with the Black Sea and the boat of Bastian Adler. So this movie is about uh, cars. This is also about miraculous.
Thank you for this precise explanation. I think that we can say that all your work is about searching for something, as you just said. And I would like actually now to talk about another work, Chunku from 2017-2019. And this work consists of 100 documentary videos, ranging from a few seconds to less than an hour, that record the fast-moving present and imagining the future ghost of modernization. You are mixing past, present, and future, interconnecting society and individuals. The modern city and the wilderness, the modernity and nature, emotion and reality, reality and fantasy. For this work, you have been inspired by the Italian film director Michelangelo Antonioni, who in 1972 has been invited by the Chinese government to film a 3 hours and 40-minute documentary called Chunku, China. The film recorded much realistic footage of China at that time. So after almost 50 years, we can say, how much of China has remained the same, on your opinion, and how much has changed? What was your idea behind this documentary work?
I think the world is changing so fast as our imagine. So also with very high speed in this different times.
Mm-hmm.
When we have so many things happening in last year, also it's continue. So that's totally changed my mind. Also, I think for everybody, they have something they need to rethinking about. I think China is also changing. The changing is either developing minutes by minutes, second by seconds. So it's so quickly. The work 中国 which the Italian director Antonioni did in 1975, this work. I think that's the first time through a director's will to tell Chinese people what is the country with a really personal uh, idea and opinion. So that's make so much mm, voice from different part, from China part, from Italian people, also from normal Chinese people part. I think that's become really the first really public uh, talking about China, not the, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not the from the government, not from the, it's from the real people who visit China and to recording the time of the country. Uh, about the work 中国 which I did, I still working on it. It's already took 5 years. it starts in 2017. And in the beginning, I want to finish in 2019, but uh, it's for now it's still ongoing, so will be finished the end of this year. So it has a new title called the CK2K2X. So that's uh, the materials is more and more coming and still make it. I think this work for me is like a mirror. The reflections shows in between the reality and the history and memories. Also connects with great work, Chongguo. So more important is in personal perspective than the great part. When we have the, smartphone, all the photos are marked in all the spaces.
Mhm.
So that's how's going in this time. So in my way to working with this projects is planned to make over 100 piece of videos clips to talking about the country. Let's include many different things about landscape, Great Wall, also about really personal parts. So those videos, that's all made by myself, and it's not great or perfect pictures, very personal. So that's the most important idea for this big topic and for this work. I hope to tell people you should to see through a country with different opinion, with different personal views. I am the only one. I just is one of that over like maybe 10 million, 100 million people. They have seen to every day took photos about different cities, different parts. So I hope to show China very smallly, very personally, the real. And for this work, I also really want to thank Francisco Bonami to make this work real. From the beginning, 2017, we talk about this work. So every year we still keep talking about this. And we also have so many ideas is changing because the world, the country is changing faster than us.
Mhm.
So that's for me it's still a problem. So I always to try to rethink in this video to try to keep the balance between the artwork and myself.
Mhm. Thank you, Cheng. I think that what is really important is to underline your way of showing this work as a mirror, as you said, as a reflection of reality. All of your works are in a different way a reflection of reality, of a specific reality, of course, you are working on in that moment. And the fact that, as you said, you want to give the different opinion of China, probably also a different way of looking to China from also our point of view as people from Western society, I believe. And I think we can make also a link on these different topics with the work you are presenting on our platform. Diary of a Madman, which is always a reflection of reality, a different kind of reality. Um, this work is from 2017, 2018, and it's a trilogy dedicated to three great cities, New York, Jerusalem, and Hong Kong. Very different, three different words, three different cultures, histories, political scenario, and is actually a result of three residencies you have made in the three cities. And here you are speaking about multi-ethnic, social, political, religious, and cultural situation that you have seen and experienced on the ground. The title of the work is taken from a Madman's Diary, a first modern fictional work in the history of Chinese literature, written in 1918 by Lu Xun. And just as the author narrates this short story in the first person in the form of a diary, turning it into a metaphor for the dramas of contemporary societies, you are recounting the emotions, the problems, the impressions of an autobiographical experience that each of us can identify with. Each character with whom you come into contact has the same perspective and the same point of view as you, following the instructions given before each take. You focus your investigation on the role of the language as a form of universal communication, asking your characters who were coming from different nationalities to speak Chinese, or even trying yourself to repeat words in different languages as French, Cantonese, Hebrew. And in this way, you are able to underline the distance that interposes itself between known territories and unknown words, the effort made by the individuals to try to integrate into different situations, and the parallels established between time, place, and social environment. So what was your main idea behind this project, and how important has been for you the Chinese literature poem as your source of inspiration?
Yeah, it's a the 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 main idea is from the Lu Xun's novel. Yeah, it's kind of like the new the beginning of New China. So I really like the novel. Also the title. It talk about a madman. He's crazy and talking about everything, but nobody believed him.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's interesting. Also, I think that he puts the personal uh, opinion into a madman. So to talk about China, talk about situation, talk about culture and everything. So in my work, it's like I like the culture from old generations from China. So like poetries, also novels, like always it inspires me a lot. For Diary of Madman New York, actually, that's the beginning of the project. Um, during the 3 months residency in New York, that's actually is my first time to be New York. So I think that's really a good start, but it's also very difficult. You know, a city is not easy to use only few words or few minutes
Mm-hmm.
to tell people what is New York.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good way is to talk about myself, talk about some imagination and fantasy or um, misunderstanding. So that's the main idea. So New York for me is more like it's not a city. I think it's like a pigeons or a couple or cave, even a self-portrait. So for New York 3 months residency, I actually made 15 videos with different kind of people,
Mhm.
friends. But I also ask them to speak Chinese or speak different language. So the language for me is also very, I'm really interested in this part. Not only because we need to talk with each other, we need to understand with each other. That's that's the only way, like a bridge to connect with the different cultures and different country and religions. But also in another way, if the languages is only a sound, so we have another way to understand and listen. So as you see, for myself, I always try to speak in my work to
Mhm.
speak French, Swiss, German,
Mhm.
and Cantonese, many, but actually I don't know all of that language.
Mhm.
It's only a moment I repair, so like a momentary memory. So after the speaking, I'm totally forgot all the uh, meaning.
Mhm.
So I think that's build a different uh, dimension to connecting with different people. So it's like to discover a different area. It's like discover. For example, in New York, I've been the famous place like Times Square, like all the famous part. But finally, I shoot in a pigeons in Times Square. I make the camera go up.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
like no people. The pigeons take over all the LEDs, all the crazy words. And I also speak famous poetry from Allen Ginsberg. I
Mhm.
can't uh, speak very well, but if all the sound is from the pigeon, from different things, so that's already broke the the root,
Mhm.
broke the system. It doesn't matter it's good or not. So I use this way to working for the dev of Madman, the projects. For Jerusalem, for Hong Kong is also same way. For example, in Jerusalem, I was sick, so I feel not really good. My mind is not clear,
Mhm.
and the city is also very intense and very heavy, fighting always like forever. So I cannot easy to tell people what is the city, what is Jerusalem. But I can tell people like my body
Mhm.
have some problems. So during the time in Jerusalem, I can feel the like blood connect with the traffic. My mind is connect some culture. So I try to make the questions not to people, and
Mhm.
the question is back to myself. So I hope this work can bring some new understanding and listening to people and to rethinking about um, communication, about country, different cultures. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you, Chang, again for the explanation. I think it was very interesting to listening to you and your point of view and your way of looking these three cities. And actually you made a fantastic portraits of the cities, very different from what we usually know about these three giant cities. I think that what is important now is that I would like to invite all the people who are watching us to watch, to take the time, because it's a long film, to take the time to watch the film again in our platform. And I invite everyone to try to identify themselves with your figure through the eyes, I would say, of an outsider, as you exactly did when you arrived in the three cities. And as you said, especially New York, probably. As a first-time visitors in New York and in US, you actually have been able to capture what is typically excluded from the iconic images of the city, and you actually have been able to give us a very less obvious picture of the popular New York. You gave us I would say, an uncelebrated and more obscure face of the city. You guided us towards the unexplored, the unknown, and the elsewhere, giving us a different dimension to connect with people. And as you just said, rethink about communication, about cultures, about people, and trying to give a different point of view of what is usually is popular to our eyes. So I thank you, Cheng, for your time and for this explanation. And I really hope to talk to you very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.